Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a big war break out, and it ended in a star victory. But with that being said, let's get into this. First, we're going to go over to the ideology layer, because we've got to do a few changes after the war, and give the new countries a government. So, let's see what they get. Democracy, 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 monarchy, democracy, monarchy, democracy, dictator. So we see that Brittany did not try and change how the Italian government works, which means that they end up with a dictator still. Now we're going over to this Russian area because there's going to be a lot more exploring. We see Finland explore along the coast, and they're trying to push really far as they just want to explore, and it's very cold, which makes it very hard, but Finland does discover all of this. The rest of them just carries on pushing along and along because they've had enough of waiting and they just want to see what's here. They get to about here and then they decide to figure out a peace treaty where they just get the land that they want. In this peace treaty, we see that Finland takes this land and then these islands up here. We see that the Navy team takes this. The Green team takes this. They have to cut it off on basically a straight border because otherwise there'll be tensions that rises. So here are your new borders of Russia. Now on to the next bit. Now over in India, we see that they are travelling along trying to make some trades with the magenta country in the green team. But they notice that there's quite a bit of land that hasn't been taken yet. So they explore around, just having a look at what there is, and they decide that they want to take some of it. That ends up looking a little bit of something like this, and this. Scotland and Finland are at it again, as they now explore Greenland. Scotland goes down and finds the more inhabitant area, while Finland goes up and finds a whole lot of nothing. In the end, we see that Finland also starts exploring down, and they've explored around most of Greenland now, of the inhabitant areas, except for this bit, which they now discover. After this, they make up a peace treaty to decide how they're going to split it. In this peace treaty, we see that Scotland gets the south and Finland gets the north. Now we're going over to Rome because they're furious about what just happened a few years before. And because they've still got a peace treaty with them, they're going to take their rage out on Sicily. So, we see them cross the border straight away and gets the element of surprise going down this little panhandle. But after a few weeks, we start seeing them push back, and eventually they meet back up. We see that now Sicily's on the counter-attack, pushing along the coastline and stopping around here because we've got an Italian push back again near the capital. But that doesn't stop them, and they get to this point, and then Rome asks for a peace treaty, which Sicily accepts because they don't want to be in this war, as they're fully democratic. In this peace treaty, we see that Sicily takes this, And now we can see that Rome has definitely seen better days. Also, they do make sure to change Rome's government into a flawed democracy, as they don't want this happening again. Heading over to China, we're going to see that they're going to be doing a bit more exploration along the coastline. So we see they're going to explore up, go along this little panhandle, and then come around this bay, going around it, and they eventually hit something. As they explore more, it's a country, but there isn't just one, there's 3. And they're kind of startled to see that there's more countries around here, as they thought they escaped and was the only ones. But they were wrong. We see that they make friendly relations with them, and then they carry on exploring. We see that central China is going to go up the coastline before they stop at this peninsula and even out the borders a little bit more. We see that southern China expands down a little bit, then they jump over to this island before evening out their borders as well. Now let's look at a peace treaty to see what they got. In this peace treaty, we see that central China gets this, and southern China gets this. Heading over to the red team, we're also going to see a bit of expansion from them, as we see that they go on their own adventure, heading along here, just trying to find new land to expand into, as the land that they got earlier today was very beneficial to them. As they're going along, they find the country, which is actually surrounded by these 2 lakes. They explore to about here. Don't leave friendly relations, but they're not hostile, so it's neutral right now. So let's take a look at a peace treaty to see how they expand and how they might get this new country to expand with them. We see that the red team takes this, and they're going to give an invitation for them to join the Triangle Alliance, and they said they'll think about it in the future. Over in India, they're going to have the next general election, where we see that there are 3 people that are trying to take power. And the first one is a Democrat. The second one is communist. And the third one is an expansionist dictator. Of this, we see that the Democrat gets 36% of the votes. We see that the communist will get 13% of the votes. And we see that the expansionist dictator will get 51% of the votes. So we will see that India will be turning into a dictatorship. As the first action of power, he's going to declare war on the Lilac team. First we see that India pushes him via the puppet state into Lilac's colony, which goes really well because they get the element of surprise and they're a lot stronger. Here India sets up a little bit more of a stalemate and a defensive line before they try and attack somewhere else. This is because they have a few landings on the coast of the Lilac team. We see one there, one by the brown team's border, which is coming up from their colony, and their final one is coming up straight through the strait and into right next to where the capital is. From here we see that India carries on pushing along because Lilac's forces have been moved, which lets them completely take over the island. From here we see that they try and connect up their colonies, but they fail to do so. but they do try and take the capital, so they try and encircle it from the bottom, and then the navy as well will do the other bit, and then from there we see that the colonies get linked up and they start pushing in. We see that their last bit of coastline before the strait is taken, and then we surprisingly see that Lilac has a little bit of a pushback, which goes semi-successful, but it doesn't cut anything off or it doesn't get any access to more of the mainland. That is shortly followed by a push which eventually leads to the capital, where it is sieged, and then the country surrenders. Let's take a look at a peace treaty. In this peace treaty, we see that India gets 2 colonies in Oman, which gives them quite a bit of power in the Arabian Sea. We also see that India rewards its puppet state and gives it a little bit of land. Well, thanks for watching this video. Please leave a like and subscribe, as we're trying to get to our goal of 1,250 subscribers. Bye.